So when I was really young, I really understood that, you know, psychiatry is evil. In this picture, you see, this face. The white part of this is an outline of a face. In case you didn't see that before, these are the eyes, the nose, whatever, the mouth. Now, it's a very evil face because that's what we're dealing with. It's a very insidious, very malevolent, very precise attack on humanity and on on the disadvantaged portions of our population, whether they are from disadvantaged from racial strife, from being a member of an undesirable group, whether they have emotional problems, whatever. There's a lot of people that the system preys on. Sometimes people will have a bad breakup, right? And those people are vulnerable. Those people are very vulnerable to, having to get on pills and stuff because they're in an emotional state where they're seeking help a lot of times, and the doctor is the type of person that people confide in. We're all taught that you go to your doctor, you tell them your problems, and you get help. And we all know there's many different types of doctors, so that they take advantage of that doctor kind of doctor-patient relationship. You know what I'm saying? It's really, some psychiatrists aren't that bad of people. They tend to know how to be very personable. They tend to be very good with people, and their personality isn't that bad most of the time. Unless you're in the psych ward or something. The psych ward is a whole different story. They get a lot of assholes there. Some of the meaner psychiatrists who have no problem giving people a very high dose of medication, so they cover their liability. Liability is always an issue, and you kind of can't blame them because they went through a lot of schooling and worked hard, I guess you could say, to get where they are, and they don't want to lose their job. So that they got to worry about liability, and they got to worry about what happens if you act up, and they're the physician, they're supposed to be taking care of you, and things like this. So it's not all black and white. It's not all these people are all evil, but there are definitely elements of the pharmaceutical industries. There's definitely psychiatrists who are consultants to pharmaceutical companies who are extremely evil and have no problem doing anything in the name of profit. They have no moral boundaries. And that is the problem. If you ask any psychiatrist, do they think the psychiatry is perfect? They'll say no. If you ask any psychiatrist if they think the pharmaceutical industry is perfect, they'll say no. But what they won't say is that it is actually the opposite. It is very wicked, it's very evil, and it's controlled by people who have social policy in mind and social control in mind, and not the general overall well-being of the individual citizens and the individual rights. The constitutional rights specifically, they have nothing in mind about that. They don't care about that. A lot of times when I make these videos, I'm trying to express myself in a way that is very appropriate, and sometimes it's hard because there's so much information out there. There's so much, I want to say about it, and there's so much that I'm not touching on, and most of it has to do with individual medications and things they've covered up, things that the people in the lab covered up when they're doing the testing that they covered up, and they're, when they're using the placebos, they're covering up how the placebos had pretty much the same effect as their drug. In a lot of cases, they cover up those type of things. It's one cover up after another, and after they've had a series of cover-ups that push their drug in the first place, they go to that consultant to really recommend the drug as a treatment for that mental disorder, and they'll put it in the different they'll put it in the physician's desk reference, things like this, and they'll put it in the different medical guides. They have different books with all kinds of medicine in them. I have one of these books. I forgot the title of it. And then you flip through it, and all these medications. It shows what medications for what, etc., etc. So once they have it there, it's basically too late, because the physicians are open to try it, and they will, especially if it becomes one of the top medications for that, one of the top treatments for that quote-unquote mental illness. And we've seen in many cases, like in the case of Prozac, where the top treatment for the drug, for the quote-unquote mental illness, is a very harmful drug that has side effects that makes people go crazy in some instances. So to me, psychiatry is a fraud, but it's not a complete it's not completely evil, because there are individuals who want to help people, but they just don't know what the hell to do but to look at the medications. And once they're at that point where they're going for the medications, it's like now they're just downplaying the fact that they don't know what they're doing, and the fact that the medication might cause them new problems, serious problems. So they're downplaying those two facts at least, and a lot of times they're holding back information that's contrary to their diagnosis. Like, this person had a major breakup, major death in the family. Person went to a new school, has new background stressors. I'm not going to really get into it, because I'm trying not to keep my try not to make my videos 10 minutes like I used to. I'm trying to keep them all under 10 minutes. So I'm going to end it here. Thank you.